Magnificent, lovely, gorgeous day. Ooh, child. I just got finished eating a slice of pizza. Okay. And I'm going to talk about how to avoid toxic relationships. Okay. And how to stop attracting those toxic relationships. Now, one of the things that we have to start analyzing is our lives. Okay. All right. And we have to start seeing, how did I attract these type of folks? Okay. Now, what prompted me to do this video and to speak on this subject was I had received a comment this morning from, I think, yeah, from a young man. I want to say young man. I don't know how old he is, but looking at the profile picture, he looks kind of young. I didn't like look at the whole thing, but from the glance of it. Okay. Now, one of the things that I have learned, and I am going to be speaking based upon like my experience and some of the things that has occurred in my life. Okay, so this is me speaking from my perception, okay, and my experience. All right. Now, experience is the best teacher, okay? Is the best teacher that you can ever have. Okay? Now, if you are a person, right? Like back when I would be, I wouldn't even say dating, but looking for love. Let's just call it what it was. I would be looking for love. Okay. Some people may ask, like, how did it start? Right? Like, how did it start? So some of the things that I'm gonna give you guys, I'm in my, let me say, 20s. Okay. Even in my teenage years, when I was about 15, 14, 15. In fact, I got pregnant when I was about, I want to say, 12. Okay. When I was 12 years old. All right. And some of you guys may be like, 12, right? Yeah, I got pregnant when I was 12. And then had a procedure done. Okay. But I always was looking for love. Okay. I always was looking for love, always felt like love was outside my existence. Okay. I felt like in order for me to be happy in life, someone have to show me that they love me. I have to be in a relationship. And in fact, I would have, and earlier I said I would accept anything. Well, I wouldn't accept anything, but it was a lot of things that I did tolerate. It was a lot of things that I did accept, you know? And so getting into a relationship, how did that look? How did that look for Dina? So me getting into a relationship with someone, it pretty much went like this. Normally, I would date the guys that I worked with. Okay, I guess that's why Source said, you know what, you are going to be doing YouTube videos. Okay, all right. Because when you working with people, you just get into a relationship with somebody on that job, and that's really what it looked like for me. Because they say a lot of times we tend to get into relationships with people that we work with because we spend the most time at work. And so, I'm at work. Normally I would go after guys that, and I didn't know this. I didn't know it was a pattern that I had. But I would go after guys that were effeminate. Okay? Effeminate men, meaning that you pretty much couldn't control them. I was operating more so in my masculinity, and I didn't know this. I did not know this at the time. That's why I always say, make sure you guys are taking out the time to get to know who you are and the things that you tend to do. Because if you want to change something, any part of your life, if you want to change it, it first starts off with you being aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, you're going to keep on doing the same exact thing, hoping and lucking and praying and crying for something new to occur. All right. And so yes, I would go, and this is how I felt before I would enter into the relationship. It was going on in my subconscious mind, right? The programming that I don't deserve love, I'm not good enough, who will want me, all these Joe, Joe. Joe, it's clear that you don't know the hermetic principles. Is clear to me. Okay. And that's not a bad thing. All right. Because it was once upon a time that I didn't know the hermetic principles. Okay. But everyone on this here planet, okay, even animals, okay, Joe, they have a masculine side and a feminine side. Every one of us. Okay. So, and that's not shade. That, sometimes we speak on things that perhaps we have been taught something completely different than what life really is. Okay. But each and every one of us has a masculine and a feminine side. Okay. Now, getting back to, hey, Carter, the amazing PC, baby, PC. And hey, Joe, PC, if you're still on here. Okay. So, so that's pretty much how I would get into the relationships. So I had all this programming, all this chatter going on in my subconscious mind. It's so funny because oftentimes you like, I want somebody to love me, but also you have this inner dialogue that's going on in your subconscious mind. You don't deserve love. So how is that going to work, right? How is that going to work? Well, you can say whatever, Joe. You can say, listen, I don't debate people. I don't go back and forth. Okay. I just said what I said. That's it. That's it. And what I said, it comes from knowledge, okay? And it comes from my experience. Okay. It comes from me constantly reading and studying. Okay. So so what happened was, I would get into these relationships, right? And this is the thing about relationships, because everybody that comes into our lives, they are always reflecting back to us exactly how we are, exactly what we have going on in our subconscious mind. Now, you can try to catfish it, right? Like, meaning, you see some people who, they wear the best of the best, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with you wanting the best of the best, wearing the best of the best, having the best of the best. But if you don't know who you are, or if you are dependent on things outside your existence to substitute for what you feel you are lacking, then that means that you are seeking outside as opposed to going within. All right. So you have to ask yourself, the people that's coming into your life, how did you attract them? Okay. All my relationships, I knew exactly how I attract them. And I attract them because I was insecure. I attract them because, I felt like I couldn't get any better. I attracted them because of, my childhood experiences. I attracted them because I was impatient. I attracted them because that's what I felt like at the end of the day I deserved. One of the things that you have to understand, and I had got this from Neuro Knowledge, And one of the things he says is you cannot outrun your belief systems. And so if you want to attract better relationships, one of the things that I highly, highly recommend is you sit down with yourself, you know, go in a quiet room and you write down what type of relationships that you attract right now. And you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Brutally honest, okay? No sugar, no sugar cutting, no, talking, no saying, oh no, it's not that. No, be honest with yourself. Because the only way to get better is when you are able to face what you currently are getting. Okay? And this is, I always talk to you guys and tell you guys the things that I tend to do. Okay, so I'm never on this app saying things and doing something different. If I tell you guys to write down what it is that you currently, what type of relationships that you currently get into, right? You should be writing down what type of relationships you get into. All right. Now, this is my book. This is my goal book. Okay. This book has been through many things. This book is based upon, I got the title from Brian Tracy book, No Excuses. That's over there on the floor. And in this book, it says goals, no excuses. And I had heard my mentor, Bob Proctor, talk about this. He said, write down everything that's showing up in your life, your finances, your weight size, everything. And this is all what the successful people do. They write down where they currently are, and then they have a vision on where they see themselves. Okay. And they honest. All right. And so that's what I did. I wrote down exactly what type of relationships, and then I got rid of that. Because after you write down what it is that you see now we are self-aware. Okay. Now we start writing down what type of relationships that we desire, right? What type of relationships we see for ourselves. Okay. And this is what I did. So I put the relationships like with me and my children, the health, what I see for my health. Hold on, child. Let me see, because this book done been through so many. Okay. So I put my health, relationships, my marriage, okay. What type of God that I desire to be with, okay. And this is also another thing. What type of vehicle I desire to have, the vehicle down to the T, okay. The vehicle down to the T. The vehicle down to the T. People I associate myself with. People I associate myself with. My body. What do you see for yourself? The restaurants me and my children will be going to. Okay, the restaurants we go to. And vacations. Okay. Now, one of the things that I am going to say is this. That person that has entered into your life, that person that you have gotten into a relationship with, that person just didn't enter into your life just cause. Now, this may trip some of you guys out, but before you met the person, you met the person. Now, somebody may say, now, what the heck are you talking about, Dina? How before I actually physically met the person, I met the person? Because you had the same exact belief systems as this person. You and this person was on the same exact frequency. Okay. which is the reason why you attracted that person. Okay. Now you didn't know their physicalities or anything like that, but you met the person before you met the person. You just met yourself. Okay. Now it gets a little deeper. When I say you just met yourself, you just met someone, or you, before you met them, you met you know, well, some people don't know exactly who they are. And I feel like the only way you're gonna know who you are if you spend time with yourself. If you spend time with yourself, if you start observing yourself, you know, why do you do the things that you tend to do? What are some of the things that you allow to piss you off? You know, like those type of things. Now, when I say you met them before you actually met them physically, what I mean is you you met them based upon what you do. What everything that you do, that person that you done got into a relationship with, that person is just reflecting right back to you. They just mirroring exactly what it is that you do. So you hear, you know, it's so funny because, you know, sometimes you may have a friend, right? And that friend, it can be it, you know, she could be saying all this stuff like, girl, I would never let no guy do this to me. I would never allow a guy to do, you know, all these different things, you know, cheat on her, be her. I remember I had a friend who, you know, once told me, she was like, she would never be with a man that was to abuse her. And then a few years later, she was with a man that abused her. Okay. Because if you don't have any self-worth, no boundaries, you are going to miss the good citizen. Those are the men women usually choose. You are projecting. You projecting. What you mean? Because it's women that I know that are in lovely relationships, healthy relationships. So you when you say those are the men women usually choose, you speaking from what you see in your life, okay? Or what's in your environment. Like, you projecting me that you put in your stuff on somebody else. You just saying that that's everybody experience. That's not everybody experience. Everybody experience isn't all women. All women normally choose men that is abusive to them, because it's women that's are in healthy relationships. It's men that's in healthy relationships. So, and that's another thing, because, you know, that's what I see too sometimes. You know, sometimes what we tend to have experienced, we say, you know, this is everybody. That's your perception. You know, when you say things like that, that make me just look at you and see that that's how you feel about yourself. Because is a certain thing called hermetic principles, right? Called law of polarity, opposites. So whenever you saying stuff like that, when you say women are not good at choosing men, it allows me to see that that's how you feel about yourself. Because we can only speak on based upon our perception and our beliefs. Okay. So, if you want a better relationship, okay, first of all, you have to have a better relationship with yourself. That's one. The second thing is, what's your core values, right? What is a no brainer? No, it's like a totally no go. You know, some people core about, like, they love going to church every Sunday. They love going to worship and, you know, things like that. They absolutely love that. and it's part of who they are, right? That's what they do. And you can, and this is the point about being patient. This is the point about being patient. And when you get to start loving yourself, when you love yourself, when you patient with self, right? You're not going to be, when you start enjoying your own company, you're not going to be so quick to just want to jump into a relationship. You have like a nonchalant attitude. Well, if when it happens, it happens. But you enjoy your company so much so that you're not willing to negotiate things that's best for you in your life. Okay, it's a no-brainer. It's like, nope, you do this, you're not for me. Okay. And that was, I didn't have, when I was getting to these relationships, I wouldn't have that. Like, no, boundaries was just not it. Okay. It was, boundaries wasn't even in my vocabulary. Nobody ever, who I grew up with, ever really talked about boundaries. Okay. So we become what our environment is majority of the time. Okay. Our environment. And I remember hearing Bruce Lipton, who talks about epigenetics. He said that our environment is like, is the most important thing, more important than your DNA, because your environment, what you be around, that's what you become. Okay, what you be around is that's what you become. So what's your core, what's your values, right? Your core values. And I was listening to this brother the other day when I was on TikTok, and he's like a relationship coach. And he was doing like these role calls, like these roles, playing out these roles and stuff. It was a few women that was on his live, and he will pull them up, right? And he would just do like, y'all just exchange numbers, and he would be asking, the young ladies certain questions, and this was like role play. And he was asking like, oh, do you go to church on Sunday? Like, what do your Sundays look like? And so one young lady, she was like, she don't go to church and all this other stuff. And he was like, that would be a no-go for him because he go to church on Sundays. And he was like, a lot of the relationships would, if you had caught the person, all right, a lot of this would have been avoided if you guys got to know one another. If you guys spoke on the phone, a lot of the relationships would have been avoided. It wouldn't even got to you actually going on a physical date with them, because once you on the phone, talking over the phone, you can see that y'all not in alignment with one another. And so why carry the relationship, or not the relationship, but why carry on, continuously talking to the person if you already know that that person is not in alignment with you? Another thing is this. So I remember, I'm gonna give you guys an example. When I was dating my ex-husband, right? We started dating. And I remember at first he would go to the gym, right? All the guys that I dated, pretty much they had like a workout regimen. And back when I was younger in my heyday, I did track, okay. I ran with the Patan. I also went to I played basketball. And I remember when I was with my ex-husband, when me and him, we started, dating. And this is because I did not know who I was, okay, and was insecure, very insecure. And so me and him started dating. And what happened was, I noticed he would work out, right? He would go to the gym. And I would be like, why you go to the gym? Now, looking back over that relationship, right? We were if his core values were a certain way, he wouldn't ever, proceeded to, date me and stuff like that, because I will always make a fuss about him working out. Or, well, not about him going to the gym. Because I felt like, oh, he gonna meet somebody there, him and that person, I felt like, oh, she had taken from me, all this stuff, all this different stuff. When you got a mindset like a scarcity lack mindset, this is some of the things that you tend to think about, right? This is some of the things that you tend to think about. And so it was funny because that relationship happened, and then I got into another relationship, and a guy, he was working out, my youngest children's father. He would be working out and stuff like that, and then after a period of time, because I would, make a fuss about it, he stopped working out. But what was so funny is then later on I started going to the gym, working out all the time. Okay, so certain things you tend to see. I want to say, when you first meet the person, let me tell you something. I always talk about experience is the best key. Experience is the best key. I had met this guy, right? And me and him was talking. I'm gonna give you guys two scenarios. Me and this guy was talking. Well, we just talked, because I was going to the supermarket, and he had seen me because he worked for like the train station, and he had seen me, and what he did was he had the company's vehicle. So as I'm walking, he had like circled around the block, came where I was at. And to make a long story short, me and him, we started talking, right? And he had asked me for my number. Me and him exchanged numbers after we spoke for a minute. And one of the things he said to me, he said he had another phone in his vehicle. I wasn't even paying attention to his second phone. I wasn't even thinking it, but I must be looked in that direction because he felt the need to, I guess, defend it, because he was like, oh, I got this second phone of mine, is pretty much my work phone. I don't ever use it though. I never be on it. To me, I didn't understand like why he had to tell me that. So to me, immediately, my intuition started speaking to me. The red flags, it started redding. Okay. And so afterwards, when I had got home, well, on my way home, I felt like this person isn't for me. Okay. Another thing is, you want to listen to your intuition. It's gonna be times where, as though you may not know why your intuition is telling you certain things, and that's where trust comes in. That's where you trust that gut feeling. And a great book that I recommend talking about that is this book right here, Trust, okay, by Iyanla Vanzant. All right, excellent, amazing book, really, really good. Okay. And so what wound up happening was, one of the things I didn't want to do was I didn't want to lead him on, because my previous experience, I didn't not lead him on. I didn't want to try to change him, because I felt like me and him, we wasn't on the same page. I just felt that way. And I didn't want to lead him on, and I didn't want to, get into a relationship where, as though I feel like, oh, I got to change the person and make the person what I want them to be. Remember what I said, experience is the best teacher. And so I know what my previous relationships was like. And so when you become aware, and this is the power of awareness, when you become aware, is certain things that you could look over your life is now like you have willpower, right? And so what happened was, I was in the kitchen. Actually, I was cooking, and he texted me a few times like, "Oh, did you make it home yet?" and all this other stuff. Seemed like a very nice guy, right? See, nice actually means foolish, but it seems like, a really, really kind guy, but he just wasn't for me. You get what I'm saying? Like he just wasn't for me. And I didn't want to ghost him. I didn't want to just stop talking to him. I wanted to give him that respect. And just like I want somebody to give me. And so what I told him was, I said, um, you're not for me. And I was going back and forth with myself. Okay, like, Dina, do you tell her? And so I just basically, and this is some of the things that you're going to experience, because when you start saying, I deserve better, I want better for my life, the universe definitely is going to test you. And is definitely going to test you to see if you actually got those lessons or not. And so, I just told him, and he was okay with it. And I see him now. I see him, every now and then. Okay, no bad blood, right? In fact, we didn't even really know each other like that. Just, that just pretty much exchange numbers and stuff. But that's the thing. I'm speaking from experience. So if you desire to have a more meaningful, a more loving relationships, not saying that you're not gonna be faced with challenges, because you will. Okay, that's just something that comes with this here thing called life. But when you are able to see what was your part, and that's always what I'm saying, because you know I've been doing lives for about 6 years. 6 years. I said seven, but it was actually six. I started back in 2018. And I've been doing these videos, right? Content creation videos. And I remember I would do my videos on Facebook a lot. And some it was one lady that I worked with, okay, me and her around the same age. And I remember she was like, you talking about, women. I wasn't talking about one. I just was being I was just, generalizing. I just said, if you want better, you're going to have to do better. Stop blaming your ex. Is not your ex. Okay. Because if you blame your ex, guess what? Your next is going to be paying for your ex. Did you hear what I said? Honey, that was a bar. That was a Jew. You need to write that. Okay. If you keep blaming your ex, your next is going to be paying for your ex. Meaning, if you keep saying, "Oh, my exes," and you could always, let me tell you something. When you start talking to these people, and one of the questions you need to ask them, what was the longest that they have been in? What was the longest relationship they had? Now, if somebody is saying like the longest relationship they have was like 3 months, in my opinion, I would say run. Because 3 months, especially if they, I'm 40. So if the longest relationship you've been in was 3 months, to me, that definitely like red flags go off. Because to me, that's like you don't have hardly no experience with relationships. Why that's the longest you ever been in a relationship was 3 months, right? Not how was and another question, how was your last relationship? That's another question, because when you asking these things, I always say people tell on themselves when they answer the questions. Okay. Like if you start dating, if you start talking to someone and they just bashing their exes, that would not be a relationship that you would not want to be in a relationship with that person. Why? Because after Say if it don't work out between you and that person, they gonna bash you. Right. And so those are some of the things that I go off of. Like if you are just talking bad about your ex, then one, it demonstrates to me that you didn't get any lessons in that relationship. Right. And then two, maybe you're not over your ex. And then three, if that ex is so bad, what does that make you? If you could say your ex down from the nitty gritty, right? And we used to say that when we were younger, down from the nitty gritty. If you can say your exes, it's like you can name everything. Like, oh, they got a bad attitude, and you very detailed. I remember, November 21st, 2020. I remember we had a day. Listen, if you very detailed, that means you have not let go. You have not let go. And you don't want to start something with someone who has not shut that previous door. Okay? You don't want to start something. Yeah, self-awareness. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is crucial, because if you ask me about my past relationship, we have no future because my ex. Well, there's your opinion, James White. Okay. So yeah, you want to ask these questions. And this is the thing. I remember hearing Missy Yala Van Zandt, one of the things she said, if you don't enjoy the company, your own company with yourself, how could you enjoy the company of someone else? How could you enjoy the company of someone else? Women in modern times have too many experiences with men to stay happy long term with one. That's your experience, my love. That's your experience. That's your experience. From me studying, the reason why, right? I'm not here to try to change anybody's belief system. Listen, I always say you got to do what works for you. You always got to do what works for you. So I'm not here trying to convince anyone, I'm not here for any of that. I am just here to teach, to tell you guys exactly my experiences in life. And that's the reason why I constantly read. I'm constantly okay. Well, if the statistics agree with what you're saying, I don't care. Like, I don't care if that's what it says. I don't care. All right. But like I said, teach his own. Okay. This is one of the books I highly recommend. The Mastery of Love, okay, by Don Miguel Ruiz. Another book I highly, highly recommend is this. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, from me studying, reading, child, okay, when I say child, okay, it puts things into perspective for me. And one of the things that I had got from this book, The Four Agreements, was this. I'm going to share exactly what it says. Let me see. I love you. Okay. I always go back to this book. Always go back to this book. Now, it says the second agreement, don't take anything personally. Okay? Don't why are you taking things personally, right? It's not personal. This is what I learned, okay? This is what I learned in life. And this came from experience too. When I was in religion, right? When I was a part of different religious groups or whatever, I always felt like I had to defend my opposing argument. Like I always felt like I had to defend it. I always felt like, my part is right. That would be ego. That would be so much in my, operating from my ego. And I felt like basically I was force feeding people like, oh no, this is the way that it is. This is it. And what I come to realize is truth don't need no defending. Like with truth is just truth, right? Truth, like you don't have to go back and forth, right? I don't debate. Like I said, I don't debate. I don't go back and forth. Okay. Um, but maybe this will help somebody out there. All right. So the second agreement, don't take anything personally. I done read this chapter a few times. The next three agreements are really born from the first agreement. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, "Hey, you are stupid," without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you are stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant? Or can everybody see how stupid I am? You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you. And you are trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness. Because we make the assumption that everything is about me. During the period of our education or our domestication, we learn to take everything personally. We think we are responsible for everything. Me, me, me. Always me. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption, and that's one of the rules too. Don't make assumptions. Don't you dare make assumptions. That they know what is in our world, and we try to impose. Listen, because because I just said this. We try to impose our world on their world. Okay? Even when a situation seems so personal, I want you to get this. I really, really want you to get this. I want you to get this. So personal. Even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and the opinions they give are according to the agreements they have in their own minds. Let me read that again. Even when a situation seems so personal, okay, so personal, maybe you know this person, maybe it's a family member, whomever. Even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and the opinions they give are according to the agreements they have in their own minds. Their point of view comes from all the programming they received during domestication. If someone gives you an opinion and says, hey, you look so fat, okay, fat, F-A-T, okay, don't take it personal, because the truth is that this person is dealing with his or her own feelings, okay, beliefs and opinions. That person tried to send you poison. That person tried to send poison to you. And if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for these predators, the black magicians. It's so funny because didn't the guy just say, didn't the guy say something? Oh, there was somebody else. Okay. Let me see where I left off. Oh, they can hook you easily with one. Listen, because this is what some of you guys are doing. You allowing people to hook you. Okay? You allowing people who call you fat, they call you ugly, they call you stupid, they say all women are the same. Okay? You are allowing, or they say all men are the same. That, you know, and if you believe this, okay, then you have accepted their reality. You have accepted their beliefs. If somebody say, hey, you dummy, and you turning around, oh, child, why are you turning around when they say, hey, dummy? When they say you are, you know, some of the words that they would say when they say you promiscuous, okay? But when they call you those names, like, why do you argue with them? You know why you argue? Because you feel like, one is the ego. You feel like you have something to defend. You feel like you have to convince them that you're not there. And if you know you're not there, why do you feel the need to convince? If you know you're not there, why do you gotta constantly try to get that person to see your point of view? Why do you have to feel like, oh, I have to show them that's not who I am. So let me fight with them. Let me argue with them. Let me go back and forth with them. If you know who you, ooh, child, ooh, child, okay? When you know who you are, You're not going back and forth and oh, I'm not there, and why you calling me that? They calling you that because that's how they see themselves. It's funny because sometimes my youngest daughter, sometimes she gets into these moods and she'll say certain things, right? And I say, well, Amani, if that's how you feel, okay. But sometimes, I say something, okay. But it's about awareness. It's about awareness. It's about you seeing, you know, and asking yourself, why I give in? Why I do this? Another great book I want you guys to get. Okay. I've been showing books all day. Now this book, all right. The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power. You can be happy now. The only answer to anger. Okay? This is what I love right here. This is what I love. Mr. Howard, I feel free in these classes to speak about things I usually hide. I take anger. No, take anger. I try not to get mad, but feel every time. I would like to hear what you have to say about this. You must stop trying not to get angry. This is suppression. Remember, whatever you suppress, it turns into depression. Okay? Which only makes it worse. Whenever you are angry, be angry without condemning yourself for it. Listen carefully, please. You do condemn yourself for being angry. That is why you hide it. You have an ideal picture of yourself as being a peaceful person, a non-angry person. So whenever anger arises over something, it shocks you. You are shocked because the actual anger clashes with the imaginary picture you have of being a non-angry person because you don't like giving up this flattering and phony picture. You get angry often. Great book. Another great book. Where is it? The Power of Now. This one. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Really, really good. Really, really good. Absolutely love this book. Really good. Okay. So, any questions? Do you guys have any questions? It's funny, we was talking about relationships, being in a relationship, all right? But to me, I think before you get into any relationship, you want to have the best relationship with yourself. That's my opinion. Before you get into any relationship, if you are first of all, if you feel like I need to be in a relationship, ask yourself, why do you need to be in a relationship? Like what are the belief systems around it? Why do you feel you need to be in a relationship? I don't feel like I need to be in a relationship. I would like to be in a relationship, but I don't feel like I need. To me, neediness is desperate. So I don't feel like I need to be in one. I feel when the time permits itself, it will. But I also feel like it's time for me to start dating. Yeah, right? As sometimes you could be, and this is exactly why I say what I say. Sometimes you could be you could read as like listen, you could read as many books as you like. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care. You could read as many books as you like. But if you're not doing anything about it, like if a book, if you get a book on relationships, right? And it says, it have steps. All the books that I read, it mainly the books that I read now is about personal development. And those books, they always have processes. Okay. Processors. Is a process, you know what I mean? But they have things that you can do. And so if you get a book and it says, well, go to your favorite coffee shop or something, go to something that interests you. One of the things I like to read. So going to Barnes and Nobles, that would make sense, right? So, like, sometimes you have to go with what you enjoy doing. I mean, some people they love working out. I mean, they love working out, and so they go to the gym. So is when they meet somebody at the gym, okay, and they go on dates and stuff like that, they share a common interest. Both of them like working out. All right. Is best to where go and do what you enjoy. Okay. So if I see a brother, okay, that's in Barnes and Nobles, okay, and then we have this same common interest, right? We like reading, we like books, okay. I think is easier to connect with someone like that as opposed to someone when you ask them like, "Oh, what's your favorite book?" And they like, book, right? It almost seems like foreign, like book. And you're like, "Yeah, what's your favorite book?" Right? And they like, I don't really read. Then for me, right, that would be a no-go for me because I like reading. Like I want to talk over, and it's so funny because I wasn't always like this, right? Before I would be watching Lifetime movies and a lot of drama stuff. No wonder my life was being shaped the way it was. I was receiving the things I was receiving because look whatever it is that we have going on internally, it always reflect external. Okay. So whatever it is, that's why I say you can't catfish it. You can't catfish this universe because whatever it is that you got going on in your subconscious mind, it always reflects itself. It always mirrors back to you exactly what it is. So if any aspect or any area of your life that you don't like you feel like you want to change it, you can change it. You can change it. But pay attention to what's reflecting back to you. Don't get upset. Like, oh, this mess done came into my darn life. These trials and tribulations. Every time I turn around, listen, and whatever you keep giving energy to, that thing is gonna continuously keep on growing. So you want to be mindful also what you constantly giving energy to. That's why I say, if somebody is constantly telling me all the stuff that they ex did, I'm looking at them. I'm not looking at their ex. I'm looking at them. And that's why I always say, being a content creator, me making videos, when I see comments and stuff, I know exactly where people are because we are all connected to one another, whether you believe that or not. Honey, that's neither here nor there. But we all connected to one another. And so when people say certain things, I know exactly where they are during that particular time because most likely I've been there. And that's why I always say experience is key. Experience is key. Your intuition is key. Okay? So when people say stuff, it's not for you to take it personal. It's for you to understand exactly where they currently are. And still send love to them. Still send love to them. Because you know what's crazy? Because we all felt like when I was in religion, and people would say, I remember even when I moved into this apartment, the realtor, the guy, he was a really cool person. Really, he was Christian. He was a Christian. And I remember me and him was talking, very kind-hearted, very kind. And he was, I think he's from Afghanistan or something. But absolutely kind, really kind, man. We laughed and stuff. And I remember when it came upon, talking about religion, and at that time I was doing the Black Hebrew Light. I mean, yeah, the Hebrew lights. And I was debating with him, saying, oh, this religion is better and all this other. And I didn't even, honey, at that time I wasn't even reading a Bible like that. Okay. But I felt the need to defend my belief. Why do you feel the need to defend? If it were, this is one of the things, this will always be my motto. Okay. Is this: if it works for you, why do you feel the need to impose your beliefs on someone else? That's why I would never say you should not be a part of that religion. I would never say that. I would never say do not join religion. Now, it's people that say that, but that's not my thing. Okay? I joined religion. All right? And it was the religion, the different religions that I joined that got me to start questioning, right? My beliefs, and got me to start understanding that I've been waiting for someone to come save my life all this time. And the real person who I have been waiting for has been me. Like God worked through you. God don't work for you. Let me say that again. I know we're talking about relationships, but these are some of the things that on my journey that I had to start, changing, right? Like the perception, my mindset and stuff like that. You know, um, Oftentimes I would feel like, oh, well, I want change. I want this. And it was like, you want change, but you're not willing to do the work. You crying. Yeah, you crying. You going to bed. Your eyes are puffy. Okay, some of you guys can relate. Your eyes are puffy. You going to bed. You crying. You snot tears. What you doing all of this, but you're not willing to put that work in. You're not willing to see or to challenge your belief systems. You're not willing to give up those belief systems. And a belief system is just a thought, a habitual thought that you keep on thinking over and over and over and over and over and over again. And so, although I kept saying, I want change, I desire change, I wasn't willing to detach myself from the belief system until I got sick and tired. So I would never tell anyone, although religion didn't work for me, it was an avenue that I needed to go down to see, like, the real power is within. But me personally, I never tell somebody you shouldn't join this, don't join that, do that, or whatever. They have to make that decision. They have to. I always say, all my videos, I always say you have to do my sister, my children, they do what works for you. If that works for you, do it. It'll come a time and a point and a period where so you look at it and you say, oh, this don't work. Right? Like this really don't work. And when you see it don't work, and it don't take a long time to see it don't work. It don't take a long time to see it, you know? But you gotta pay attention. You gotta be willing to do something different. You know, you gotta be willing to change, and that's the whole thing. You gotta definitely be willing to change. And accept change. And this is why I tell you guys every day I study every day. It's not one day, you know, every day I wake up in the morning, I meditate, go within. I listen, normally I write my goals down at nighttime. But every day I have a notebook. I'm always writing, you know, my goals down, because I know my goals, they don't only affect me, but they also affect my children. And so I want my children to see this is what I do. And if you do what you have seen mommy do, you can have whatever it is that you desire. But you have to be willing to show up. You have to be willing to put the work in. I don't care if you scared. I really don't care. I don't care if you scared. And I don't say that. The reason I say I don't care, because I know that you have unlimited potential within you. I know that you have what it takes. I know it, because if I can do it, I'm no different. You can do it too. The only difference is, are you willing? Are you willing to show up? Are you willing to make a change? That's it. And if you make the decision, I'm you know what? I deserve a better life. You don't have to have it all figured out. When I first started buying books, and I don't show you guys the books like, you know, to be oh, look, I got books. I show you the books because I want you guys to see how it all started off for me. I used to be watching Lifetime Movie Network. It was like I would work 8 hours, right, on a job. I felt like I had no time to study. If somebody ever said study, the only thing I would be thinking was going to school. Like, I never thought about studying myself, you know? And it's so crazy because we study all these different subjects, but the main subject you should be studying is self. Know thyself. You got to know yourself. And so, you know, my first book was The Alchemist. And I tell you guys this story all the time because, you know, I want you to really understand where I started off. My first book was The Alchemist by Pablo Coelho. Okay, I brought this. This is the second time I brought this book. But this was my first book, The Alchemist by Pablo Coelho. And I remember I used to listen to Infinite Waters. And one of the things Infinite Waters, I love his videos. He'd be like, peace. Infinite Waters diving deep, right? And I remember listening to Infinite Waters, and he had talked about the alchemist, right? How the universe will conspire to work in your favor. And it's so funny because there's another book. I had. this book right here. And it's so funny because this morning when I was showing the books, synchronicities. And when you want something, or the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Pablo Coelho, The Alchemist. And all it is started from a dream. Like, our dreams, they speak to us. And I remember back in 2018, I had a dream, right? And in my dream, I was living like in this high rise, this complex, like these condos. And it was another high rise building that was facing the building I lived in. And from my window, I could look and see what the people in the next building was doing, right? That was on the same exact level. And I had seen this father, and it was this father and son. They was Indian. This is a dream I had. And in that dream, they had so many books, like on a shelf, like a whole bunch of books. And I couldn't, like, you couldn't see the title of the books, because the books, they were covered. They had like a cloth. You guys, some of you, I don't know, depending on your age, okay? When I was a kid, I went to a Catholic school, and we had to cover our books, like our textbooks. We had to cover them. So we had to buy book covers, and pretty much, cover the textbooks and stuff like that, so the textbooks wouldn't get damaged and stuff. And in this dream, the books, they had book covers on them, so I couldn't see what books it was. And the book covers was the same as that color of that book, The Alchemist. It was the same as that color as The Alchemist. And the book covers, they was cloth. And it was like a lot of other stuff that was going on in a dream. But, it was a cow in a dream. So many different things that was going on in this dream. And I remember the next day, because I wanted to know what does this dream mean, right? Like, what is the meaning behind this? And I had went on Google, and I was looking up, searching like dream interpreters. And I never forgot, it was this lady that I contacted, and it was free. And I explained to her the dream and the colors that I seen, which was like red, orange, yellow, just the same exact color as the book, The Alchemist. And she was telling me like what it meant and stuff, like new life, new beginnings, and all this other stuff. And what was so funny about that was, because this was during the time of my spiritual awakening. I don't really care for saying spiritual awakening, but this was during the time where, so I was becoming aware, right? It was like the veil was like lifting, okay, over my eyes, so to speak. And it started from that book. And then ever since then, I've been buying books, because all the successful people that I have heard speak, they always recommend books. They always recommend books, always. And if you ever notice, videos, like YouTube videos or whatever, you will always see somebody, a successful person, have a bookshelf right behind them. Never fails. They always have a bookshelf. Always have a bookshelf. Okay. And so you say you want to be successful. You say you want this. You gotta study success. You have to be willing. You have to be willing to show up. And I don't care if you are afraid. Okay, fear is a good thing. Stop looking at fear and thinking that, oh well, if I'm afraid, that means for me not to do it. No, no, that don't. That don't mean for you not to do it. That means actually for you to do it. And I'm not talking about anything that's going to harm you or harm others. I'm talking about growth. Okay. If you get a download to go to Barnes and Nobles to go get a book, right? Just say hypothetical, right? You get a download. Something is telling you to go to Barnes and Nobles. You may say, I don't go to Barnes and Nobles, right? That may be because this is how it happens. Okay. You could say, I'm gonna change my life. You have it made up in your mind. I'm gonna change my life. You know what? I'm gonna change my life starting right here, right now. Some people say, God don't talk. No, God is speaking. You're not listening. You're not listening. You expecting, somebody to walk past you or somebody to tell you. It happens like that, synchronicities. But no, God is speaking. God is speaking to you through your gut feeling, that inkling that you had. Your intuition telling you to do something is always guiding you. Is always. So the people that say, God just won't speak to me, they even go as far, I must be doing something wrong. God is speaking. You're just not listening. God is telling you to do certain things and you won't do it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, because that don't make sense. Why would you go do that? You never done it before. And that's exactly why you had those results that you have. Because you never done anything different. That's why you keep having those results. Because you keep saying, well, why would I do that? I never done it before. That's exactly why you're gonna do it, because you never done it before. Let me tell you something. Change does not come from you being the same exact way. Courage does not come from you doing the same exact thing. Courage comes from you facing your fear. You doing something that you have never done before. You have courage. You develop courage from doing things different, from doing new things. That's how you develop courage. By facing yourself. Not, you know what really does it for me? If somebody, and I go through this with my oldest son, because, sometimes me and him, we talk, and well, we talk all the time. But we talk, and sometimes he say, no, because I tell him, I say, it's okay at times if you afraid. It's absolutely fine. It is okay. All right. And sometimes he say, why would I be afraid? Right. And I say, because it's something you never done before. So welcome the fear. Not you try to run from the fear, because whatever you run from is just gonna run after you. Right? Run from a dog that's chasing you. Run from a dog that you're afraid of. What you think that dog gonna do? You think that dog gonna go turn around and go run in the opposite? No, it's gonna chase after you because it can feel that fear. And so if you want your life to change, when it comes to relationships, finances, we think oftentimes like, oh, I do things this way, it doesn't affect anything else. That would be ignorant. That would definitely be ignorant, because it all affects one another. Everything affects everything. So when you do one thing and you like, it doesn't affect anything else. Yes, it do. It does. It really do. So with that being said, I love you guys. Love you. Love you. Make sure you guys rocking out. If you are not following me, If you enjoyed the live, okay, follow me if that's what you desire to do. If not, that's cool. Okay. All right. Until the next time, in the meantime, in between time, okay? Dina on the mic, like the MC, about to have you move your feet, okay? Let me know. Give me some suggestions in a comment section on what's the next thing that you guys want me to do a video on. Yeah, and we'll go from there, okay? So I'm sending you love and light. Make sure you're rocking out, believing in yourself, showing up for yourself. Always remember, your life will get better once your perception gets better. That's the only way. When you begin to see things different or better, things will begin to look better. But you have to see better. You have to know that there's better. And then things will become better. Now, do the other things still exist? Of course, they still exist. Of course. But we are not feeding it. We feed in what we desire for our reality. All right. Until next time. Peace.